How you loving, how you loving, how you loving, how you loving. We are reading the entire Bible, front to back, Genesis to Revelation, and we are also reading the Apocrypha and parts of the Pseudipigrapha. And why is our global community doing this? Why is our global spiritual, witchy, magical community doing this? We're doing this, our global community of freedom lovers, truth seekers. Why are we doing this? We are doing this so that we ourselves can know with absolute certainty that the real God is not in the Bible. The Bible is not about God. The Bible is not inspired by God. The Bible is not from God. The Bible has nothing to do with God. The Bible is a collection of writings written by humans over thousands of years, redacted, edited, reworked, massaged to fit the group of people and what they needed the literature to be. We were told that this literature is from God. It is not. And the only way to really prove it to yourself, because many of us have been indoctrinated with the idea that this collection of literature, what I have come to call it as, refer to it as humanities library, this collection of literature is quite bizarre. I mean, it's got Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. It's got them all beat. This great, vast collection, when we include the Nag Hammadi Library, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Pseudipigrapha, lost books of the Bible, when we look at all these writings, they are supremely bizarre. And here we are determined to get to the bottom of it. I'm Reverend Valerie Love, also known as Kaisi, named from the great mother ayahuasca. And I'm here, we are here together, not I am here, we are here together every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time if you desire to join us live. And if we have never met before, I am so happy that you are here. I've been a coach and a mentor for over 20 years. I lead retreats globally with amazing beings like you to Egypt, Bali, Italy, Greece, Dubai, Peru, all throughout the United States. Oh my goodness, we have had amazing times around the world and continue to do so. And it is the absolute love of my life to live my soul calling and destiny on this planet. I am the book. I am the book. I am the author of 26 books on practical spirituality, Christian witchcraft magic, including the hot selling How to Be a Christian Witch and the Christian Witchcraft Starter Kit. You can see all of that at valerielove.com. We have magical communities and we invite you into our magical communities. The description is below where we can really work with you and get to know you so much better and supernova your life. Supernova your life from being in community with us. I found my error. I found my error. Yesterday, I told you that I made an error. I made a mistake. And the good thing about making mistakes is that you find it, you learn from it, you correct it, right? Or you find it, you become aware of it, you correct it, and you learn from it. So here is the mistake that I made in reading to you the book of Enoch. Let me show you the mistake that I made. I found it when I went back and looked at the other videos. I found it. I found the point where I made the error. Here, we started off the book of Enoch, right? This is what we started off with, the books of Enoch. Now we are reading the book of Enoch, which is Enoch 1. We are reading the book of the secrets of Enoch, which is Enoch 2. And we are reading the Hebrew book of Enoch, which is Enoch 3. So we began reading it and we were going along just fine, reading all of these, reading the book of Enoch. That's the introduction. We did not read that. We went straight into the goods, straight into reading the book of Enoch. And we got up to now chapter 27 in book 1. We got up to here, 27. And so 27 was, I found it. I found my error. 27 was what I knew was the marker, 27. So when I came back the next day, See, I have been looking through this and looking at different pages and looking at the different books and looking at the sections that the books were broken into, because some of these books are broken into sections. So I was looking at that and I was way ahead. I was over here on page 70 something at number 27. And that's what I picked up. I picked up right here number 27, yet it was not the same 27. And later on, I was looking at it as I was doing just prep work and looking over what we're doing here. I saw, whoa, how did I get into the 70s when we were way up on page number? That's what tipped me off. How did I get into the 70s when we were in the teens? So, what I did yesterday was I finished up that part that we were on because we were at a critical point where, uh, hold on. Okay, we were at a critical point where Enoch was about to get abducted. So I didn't want to just stop at that point. So what I did was I continued the reading yesterday and I marked where we stopped in book three. I marked where we stopped in book three. Today, we're going to pick up where we left off. I went on a little tangent for 2 days. Now we're going to go back to the appropriate number 27 in the teens, way in the beginning of the Book of Enoch, book one, the first book of Enoch. Let's go find that. See, we're in the teens. We're not in the 70s. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your love as we make our way through these books. Here we are on page 1427. And I was amazed at the valley. I was very much amazed. This is where we are to be. So now we're going to go straight through. Okay? Book one, book two, book three. Thank you for being patient with me. And if you noticed that, great. And I hope I didn't throw you off too much. And let's get into it. Then I said, what is the purpose of this blessed land, which is completely full of trees, and of this accursed valley in the middle of them? Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me, this accursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here will be gathered together all who speak with their mouths against the Lord, words that are not fitting, and say hard things about his glory. Here they will gather them together, and here will be their place of judgment. And in the last days, there will be the spectacle of the righteous judgment upon them in front of the righteous forever. For here the merciful will bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. And in the days of the judgment on them, they will bless him on account of his mercy, according as he has assigned to them their lot. Then I myself blessed the Lord of glory. I addressed him and I remembered his majesty as was fitting. And from there, I went towards the east to the middle of the mountain of the wilderness, and I saw only desert. But it was full of trees from this seed, and water gushed out over it from above. Gushed. The torrent, which flowed towards the northwest, seemed copious, and from all sides there went up spray and mist. That's a strange sight to see in the desert. Trees, seed, and water gushing up. That's not a desert, Enoch. And I went to another place away from the wilderness. I came near to the east of this mountain, and there I saw trees of judgment, especially vessels of the fragrance of incense and myrrh, and the trees were not alike. And above it, above these, above the mountains of the east, and not far away, I saw another place, valleys of water like that which does not fail. And I saw a beautiful tree, and its fragrance was like that of the mastic. And by the banks of these valleys, I saw fragrant cinnamon. And beyond those valleys, I came towards the east. And I saw another mountain on which there were trees, and there flowed out water, and there flowed out from it, as it were, a nectar, whose name is styrax and galbanum. And beyond this mountain, I saw another mountain, and on it there were aloe trees, and those trees were full of a fruit, which is like an almond and is hard. And when they take this fruit, it is better than any fragrance. And after these fragrances to the north, as I looked over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of fine nard and fragrant trees of cinnamon and pepper. And from there, I went over the summits of those mountains far away to the east. And I went over the Red Sea, and I was far from it. And I went over the angel Zotiel. And I came to the garden of righteousness. And I saw beyond those trees many large trees growing there, sweet smelling, large, very beautiful and glorious, the trees of wisdom, which they eat and know great wisdom. And it is like the carob tree, and its fruit is like bunches of grapes on a vine, very beautiful. And the smell of this tree spreads and penetrates afar. And I said, this tree is beautiful. How beautiful and pleasing is its appearance. And the holy angel Raphael, who was with me, answered me and said to me, this is the tree of wisdom, from which your ancient father and ancient mother, who were before you, ate and learnt wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven from the garden. And from there I went to the ends of the earth, and I saw there large animals, each different from the other, and also birds, which differed in form, beauty, and call, each different from the other. And to the east of these animals, I saw the ends of the earth on which heaven rests, and the open gates of heaven. And I saw how the stars of heaven come out, and counted the gates out of which they come, and wrote down all their outlets for each one individually according to their number, and their names according to their constellations, their positions, their times, and their months, as the angel Uriel, who was with me, showed me. And he showed me everything and wrote it down, and also their names he wrote down for me, and their laws and their functions. And from there I went towards the north, to the ends of the earth, and there I saw a great and glorious wonder at the ends of the whole earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven. Through each of them north winds go out. When they blow, there is cold, hail, hoarfrost, snow, fog, and rain. And from one gate, it blows for good. But when they blow through the other 2 gates, it is with force, and it brings torment over the earth, and they blow with force. And from there I went towards the west, to the ends of the earth, and I saw there, as I saw in the east, 3 open gates, as many gates and as many outlets. And from there I went towards the south, to the ends of the earth. And there I saw 3 gates of heaven open, and the south wind, the mist, and the rain and wind came out from there. And from there, I went towards the east of the ends of heaven, and there I saw the three eastern gates of heaven open, and above them there were smaller gates. Through each of these smaller gates, the stars of heaven pass and go towards the west on the path that has been shown to them. And when I saw, I blessed, and I will always bless the Lord of glory, who has made great and glorious wonders, so that he might show the greatness of his work to his angels and to the souls of men, so that they might praise his work, and so that all his creatures might see the work of his power and praise the great work of his hands and bless him forever. We have just concluded section 1 of book 1 of the Book of Enoch, the first Book of Enoch, the first section. Tomorrow, we shall start section 2, the parables. I feel that we're about to shift into something different. The parables. The parables. How you loving, 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 how you loving? Do you get the sense that Enoch is talking astrology here? Do you get the sense that this is all astrology? When he's seeing the eastern gates, the western gates, the southern gates, the northern gates. When he's seeing these 3 gates on each corner, it's 12. And he's talking about stars proceeding according to their course and their path. Do you get the sense that this is all astrological? Part of it's a very big astrological backdrop, I would say. Within the story, of course, is embedded Adam and Eve and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, as it's called in the Bible. And in the Book of Enoch, it's called the tree of wisdom. And that when you pluck from this tree, somehow your eyes are open and you understand your true state. You understand the truth about yourself. This is an amazing metaphor because there are things in the Bible that stand for things that are true. They're metaphors, they're metaphysical. So if we consider it, what is the fruit that you could eat that you would know all about yourself, the universe, your place in the universe? That's what I'm going to ponder. What do you say? I'm going to ponder that. What could that be? What is this tree reminiscent of? And remember, the Anunnaki loved this tree. I'm going to show you this tree. I saw it when I was at the museum. This tree repeats this tree motif. Tree. Now, this is very interesting because the First Nations, where I'm from, which is North America, the land they now call United States of America, but they've only called it that for like, I don't know, 250 years. Yeah, it's about to come up on 250 years this year, I believe. Yeah, 250 years in July. It's going to be a huge celebration in what is currently called the United States of America. And the reason I say what is currently called the United States of America is because it's a baby. It's only been called that for like 250 years. It's a baby. It's a baby compared to it's not even a baby. It's an infant. It's a newborn compared to the great civilizations, all the civilizations on the planet. I mean, India has been continuously going for something like over 5,000 years, and China has been going for thousands of years also, continuously, the same culture. This that we have now, no, it's a new baby created by the colonizers. It's a mashup of the colonizers and the people they snatched up along the way. And they themselves wanting to be free from a king and from being ruled, yet they were willing to rule other people. I know it's strange. Anyway, this landmass, let's call it, that is currently called the United States of America, which they're not united. So I don't know why they call it USA, because these states are not united. Anyway, one needs go no further than Texas to tell you that it's not united. They're all doing their own thing, these 50 or so states, right? Before this configuration that we currently have, there were First Nations living here. That's why we call them First Nations, because they were already here before the colonizers came. Now, the First Nations, and I want to make clear every time I say the word colonizer, I'm not talking about a color, I'm talking about a consciousness. We have colonizers of all colors. So when you hear me say colonizer, don't automatically just assume that it's white people. No, baby, we had African colonizers too. You got colonized. You got people that were in India that got on board with the colonizers, and they became colonizers too. Very dark hued people. So deeply hued people, dark skinned people, melanated people have been colonizers. Also, study history. There's no group of people that didn't do mean things to another group of people. It seems like what we do on planet Earth, we are hellions. We can be hellions and we can also be angels. That's why the angel and the devil sit on your shoulder. You could go either way. Please keep going toward the angel side. Just keep going toward the angel side more and more, and you'll be okay. But if you keep going to the little devil side, trust me, I don't believe in devils. I don't believe in a devil. I'm a witch. We don't subscribe to the ideas of a devil. That's a Christian construct. It's a metaphor. I want to be clear on that. Well, this whole landmass, there were people already living here before the colonizers came, living their life, set up according to their arrangement. The First Nations had arrangements. The Sioux knew what to do with the Hopi knew what to do with the Lakota knew what to do with on and on and on. So it wasn't like it was chaos. There was order, and everybody knew what the order was of these First Nations and the relationships between the First Nations and what people did inside the First Nations. That was all set up. And then you had people came over here who who did upset the balance. Well, and I'm not saying that all of the First Nations were completely in balance either. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they were here first. Or I won't say that they were here first. They were here before the colonizers, and they had ways of living that I honor, in tune with nature, in tune with the stars, in tune with the earth, in tune with the plants, in tune with the animals, of what I know of the culture of the First Nations. These First Nations, right, that were already here before the colonizers came over, they have stories, particularly the Hopi. And it is very fascinating that the Hopi say that their ancestors came from the stars. The Hopi and the Dogon say the same thing. That has always been fascinating to me. Let's talk about that for a minute before we go further into this astrology of Enoch. Dia, I appreciate you keeping us on track. I feel like we're hiking up a gray mountain. It's not the truth. Without you as my guide, my Sherpa, I wouldn't know which way to go with all these different books. Oh my goodness, Dia, I love you so much. And look, the Sherpa has to keep eyes wide open because, oh my goodness, right? Oh my goodness, I got to stay on top of things. So thank you, Dia, so much. Now, the Hopi and the Dogon, let's go into the book. Let's go into the book. And I'll show you inside the book what I discovered and why we cannot afford to ignore the people of this planet and their ancient stories. We cannot afford to ignore this. Look at this, okay? Let's go on screen share and let's get you inside the book. By the way, we are at 50 who desire to be notified when the paperback and hardcover go on sale on Kickstarter for the book. Ah, y'all are freaking amazing. Ah, real God is not the Bible. Bible has nothing to do with God. If you are deconstructing and you want to free your mind from the Bible because we've been yoked up by the Bible, this is the book for you, baby. Get on the list to be notified when the paperback and hardcover are released. The ebook is on Amazon. Okay, let's go to inside my book and let's go to hold on. Let's go to here. Let's do search Hopi. Let's go to Hopi. So I can take you inside of this part of the book, Hopi. Let's see. No. Dogon. Let me put in Dogon. Lakota. This is it. The Elohim are the template. Let's go there. The Elohim are the template. Okay. Here we go. Take a look at this. The Elohim stories. The Dogon people of Mali are legendary for having advanced astronomical information. So when the anthropologists came across the Dogon, they couldn't make heads or tails of how these people knew about Sirius and the Sirius B as a dwarf star before it was discovered. Again, the Dogon people of Mali, my people in my ancestry, my people hail from Mali. Maybe yours do, maybe not. Either way, it's okay. This is humanity's story. The Dogon people, the Dogon are keepers, just like many indigenous cultures. They are keepers of the truth of humanity. They are keepers and caretakers of our stories that don't just apply to their tribe. It applies to all of humanity, just like the Bible in its coded form, in its coded format, is keeping ancient secrets for us, ancient stories, the mystery of our emergence on this planet. Where did we come from? These stories are answering the existential questions we all have. Where do we come from? Where do we fit in this great big universe? Are there others? And more. The Dogon people of Mali are legendary for having advanced astronomical information and details that had yet to be discovered by the scientists' telescope. Their knowledge of Sirius B as a dwarf star orbiting Sirius A in a 50-year cycle is more than impressive, as Sirius B is not visible to the naked eye, and the Dogon didn't have telescopes when they conveyed this detailed information to anthropologists. Yet they are keepers of the wisdom and knowledge of the star people who visited Earth long ago, whom the Dogon call the Nomos. The Nomos are beings from the Sirius star system who taught humanity agriculture, how to civilize themselves, and detailed information about the cosmos and its cycles. I call that a smoking gun. Now, how did the Dogon know this? How did they know this? They did not have telescopes. This cannot be seen with the naked eye. They had this detailed information before Sirius B was discovered. How? And they said it's very small and it's very heavy. It is very dense. Sirius B is very dense. Zulu stories from South Africa speak of the Ama Zimu, an ancient star race that brought human beings wisdom and knowledge of both the physical and spiritual worlds. The Zulu tell us that not only did this star race bring us wisdom and knowledge, it taught us about the physical world, such as taking care of cattle, husbandry, agriculture, mining, metallurgy, rulership. It taught us the physical things, and it also taught us the spiritual things, that in the spirit worlds, this is what happens. And they taught the importance of rituals and honoring your spirit. They taught both. The Maasai of Kenya, I visited the Maasai of Kenya, absolutely magnificent. I highly recommend it. Let me see if I can find you the picture of me looking at a I still remember his name. His name is Wilson, and he was the son of the chief. And I said, Wilson is your name? He said, yes, Wilson. And I thought to myself, oh, they dumbed it down for us American people because that will sound like something that we can say. And I asked him his real name, and it was something I couldn't say. So we went with Wilson, okay? The Maasai, whom I'm thankful I got to visit in 2009, hold that they are direct descendants of beings from the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. The Maasai's star-faring ancestors taught them rituals and how to live in harmony with nature. And if you know the Maasai are semi-nomadic, and the Maasai still inhabit Kenya and Tanzania, or as we would call it in America, Tanzania. But I've heard African people call it Tanzania. And when you go to even Zanzibar, you'll see them walking the beach in Zanzibar. You'll see the Maasai around because you recognize them because of their brightly colored cloaks that they wear wrapped in their cloaks, and they always have a long staff. And if you know the Maasai, you know that they are herders. Like you see the Maasai, you see cows on cows on cows on cows on cows. Let me tell you how many cows there were when I went to see the Maasai. Let me help you understand how many head of cattle the Maasai have. Let me tell you a Maasai story right now from Reverend Valerie's trips all around the world. Baby, I be seeing some interesting, some things that make me go, wow. Oh my goodness, where have I been all my life? So we're in Masai Mara in Kenya. I'll show you what it looks like. Let's go on screen share. We're in Masai Mara in Kenya. We're going on a safari. Masai Mara. And here's what it looks like. That's where we are. Okay, we're out there with the animals and the elephants and the whole pride and lions, all of it, the whole nine. Right. At night, you hear herds start stampeding by. Literally, that's where we are. Masai Mara in Kenya. And it's pitch black at night because, of course, they have no light pollution. So here we are, Masai Mara, and we're going to go see the Maasai. And we get up early in the morning and we go over. This is a different day than the safari. This day, we're going to see the Maasai. I don't know what to expect. We get close to the Maasai, and the stench of cow dung is so strong. And the driver was like, oh, they're this way. Because the cow dung, that's how many cows they had. Like just hundreds. The cow dung. Okay. We get closer and closer. I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't mean to be graphic, yet the cow dung was mixed in with the soil, and it was just like walking on mush. And I was so glad I had on sneakers. And this one brother that was with us had on like sandals, like, those leather sandals, because it was hot, right? And it was just mushing around his feet. And he was just like, I'm walking on cow dung right now. Yes, we all are. And you're in another country and you can't be like, you can't be too American. I call that being too American because Americans are just only used to one thing, America. Americans are the worst citizens of the entire planet. And I don't want to be like that. Because everywhere you go, that's why they say American standards. Because Americans are going to be the ones to complain. Oh, well, you don't have hot water? Americans, most of the world doesn't have hot water. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my God. People are taking showers outside. No, they don't have piping hot water. Shut up and sit down and enjoy your time in wherever you are. And when you go back home, take all the hot showers you want. Americans, anyway. Anyway, so here we are, and we're just, and I'm just in the adventure, right? Walking along, and it's like, oh my goodness. Like I'm saying, this is amazing. And at the same time, it's like every breath I take just sends more stench of cow dung up to my brain. You know how you breathe? You take a deep breath and it just goes like you feel like it's going everywhere inside of your body. I felt like I was covered with cow dung. Well, we're walking along and we get to the Maasai village. And here we are. I almost pass out. This is what happens. And so I'm standing there and I'm like, whew. And they're all used to it, of course. I don't even think they can smell the cow dung. And I'm like, mm, whew. And I don't usually my breath will bring me home. It wasn't bringing me home then because every breath was just reminding me of how much cow dung was everywhere. And the smell was just like, so I'm just, and flies, just flies. And so I'm just standing there and I'm looking at Wilson and listening to everything he's telling us about the, the Maasai village and whatnot. And I'm trying to hold it together. And then he tells us that in the mornings they do a puncture in the cow's vein and take a gourd and get some of the cow blood. He was describing the morning ritual. And then they mix it with milk and they drink it. And I was like, I'm trying to hold it together. I'm like, look at, how you're in a place and you're trying to be normal, but the thing that you're experiencing is so far from normal. And, my face is extremely expressive. So it was very difficult for me to hold it together. And I'm like, oh my God. Are you telling me that you drink blood smoothies in the morning? But I can't judge them. I mean, they've been doing this forever. Who am I? Maybe in a past life I was drinking blood smoothies. I don't know. And I'm like, oh my goodness, right? And I'm smelling the cow dung and it's super hot and flies are everywhere. And I'm hearing about the blood smoothie. This thing is just getting worse and worse and worse. I'm telling you, I'm right back. You can see it traumatized me. The cows of the Maasai traumatized me forever. I will lovingly always remember this day. And then next to me was this beautiful Maasai sister, this woman, she had a baby, right? And the baby was on her hip and the baby was looking at me like, oh, look at the strangers. And I was, smiling at the baby. And she was there holding the baby on her hip. The tribe was circled around. And the baby's nose was running. You know how you see babies and they have like the snot hanging out? And I looked at the baby. Oh, look. And I go in my bag, look, being American, to get a tissue because in my bag I have everything. I have a roll of toilet paper because you got to squat over the holes in the ground to go to the bathroom. I have wipes. I have a pen and pad. What am I going to write? I don't know. You're in the middle of savannah, African savannah. You have just stepped into Savannah. You're in Lion King right now. What are you writing down, Valerie? But anyway, I got all my stuff in my little bag. And I go and I get this little, those little Kleenex packages of white, tissues, and you pull one out. Baby, I went and did like this to pull out a tissue. And guess what she did? She was holding a baby. She did like this. She wiped the baby's nose with her hand and swiped her hand under her foot. It was one clean move. I was like, ooh, oh my, and I'm standing there with the tissue like, what just happened? Never mind. Let me put my little tissue. Look. Okay. What are people on the African plain going to do with tissues? It ain't no trash cans, Valerie. It has to be all natural environment. What are you doing? That was just one of my experiences with the Maasai. Now let me see if I can pull up the picture for you. Oh my God, of me looking at Wilson, because Wilson, I still remember his name, and I met this man like 16, 17 years ago. I still remember Wilson's name, baby. And let me see, Kenya, let me see if I can find this Kenya picture for you, because I am standing there. Here it is. Here it is. If you, this is me. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Look at me. I got the picture. I pulled the picture up. You would love this picture. Oh my goodness. Oh, you saw that on a documentary. You saw the same thing on a documentary. Oh my goodness. I highly recommend it. You got to go. You got to go to the motherland, and you got to hang with the Maasai. That's a must. That is a must. Here we are. Look at Wilson. That's me right here. You see me, and I got my little cheetah print. I thought I was going to be cute, matching the little, because it was cold in the morning and hot in the afternoon. Because there's nothing around. It's pitch black at night. Do you see what he is wearing on his head? Wilson on his head. Let me download this picture so that you can see close up what it looks like. Wilson has the lion mane on his head from the lion he had to kill to become a man. Okay, and there's his traditional wrap. You see the wrap that he's wearing, very very well known wrap of the Maasai. We've never seen a lion on someone's head before, and I'm I'm in another world. I'm like, what just happened? Where am I right now? Where am I? Because I must be Dorothy. You ain't in Kansas no more. You ain't in Kansas no more, Dorothy. Okay, so when I tell you that the Maasai, I tell you what I tell you. Why do I tell you this story? Let me wrap this up with a pretty bow. I tell you this story because the fact that the Maasai still breed great cattle, I sense is a continuing legacy of what the Star people taught them. Or my Wakanda outfit. That's right. Wakanda forever. Right? I sense that the Maasai still have the wisdom of the Star people. I just do. Let's continue and go deeper into these ancient stories that are caretaken. They're being custodied for us by the people of the world. Okay, so we've seen Mali, which is West Africa. We've seen Zulu, which is South Africa. We've seen Maasai, which is East Africa. Let's go to Greek mythology. Greek mythology, we know what that's about. The Indian texts, the Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they all describe the gods and goddesses and their flying machines. And the Rig Veda speaks of the same flying machines that we're talking about and looking at in the Book of Enoch, Elijah, and Ezekiel. And the Vimana. The Popol Vuh, so that's India. So we got 3 different locations in Africa. We have West Africa, South Africa, East Africa. These people were not communing with each other. These people are caretakers of a very similar story. Then we go to India. They're caretakers of all of these stories, and that we can know that some of these beings were blue, which makes me think maybe the Anunnaki, some of them could have been blue or appeared blue, because in one of the stories, Ninhursag, who is like a chief medical officer, she had to make a potion from plants that they had to take continuously so that they could navigate this planet, because this planet is so different from where they came from. Now let's go over to the Maya in in Mesoamerica. They speak of beings who descended from the stars and interacted with humanity. Mayan glyphs illustrate Star Wars or clashes among the gods and the effects on humans. Same thing that the Greek mythology has. Mesoamerican Aztec also have the same stories. That the story of creation states that the gods sacrificed themselves to bring light into the world. And that's very important because in the Sumerian story, they sacrificed one of the gods to blend the DNA with us to make up to not make us, to bioengineer us. The Lakota of North America, so we're going now to the First Nations of North America, speak of star people who descended from the sky long ago to help humanity with moral and societal concerns. They were teachers and helpers who guided humanity in matters both practical and spiritual, just like the different African caretakers of the stories are saying. And in some stories, the ancient star people cohabitate with humans to create offspring that had special powers, just like the Bible stories, just like Greek mythology. Whenever you read in Greek mythology that a hero like Hercules was born of a god and a mortal mom and a god dad, where does that come from? Same thing the Bible says. The sky, angels came down, and so a divine being mates with a mortal being and creates some kind of hybrid thing that is huge and it's terrible and can do epic things. You're like a demigod. The Hopi of North America recount stories of the Kachina, beings who descended to Earth to teach humanity about practical matters such as farming and agriculture, as well as spiritual matters such as sacredness of life and rituals. The prophecy of the blue star Kachina foretells a time when the Earth and its population will undergo drastic changes. The blue star is serious. The blue star Kachina are beings not from Earth. Now, I have a question for you. I asked the AI that beyond the ones that I already talked about, the ones I've already known, the ones I've already seen, the ones I've already studied, beyond all of these, the ones in North America, the ones in different parts of Africa where I've traveled, the ones in Southern Mesoamerica, where I've traveled extensively all throughout Mexico, been to Peru, been to Teotihuacan, seen that big wall in Peru where, wow, how did they build this thing? In Cusco, Peru, it's still there. I've walked past that wall many times and said, I don't know how they did this. Anyway, I wanted to find out, are there more? I asked the AI, can you tell me about more of these stories all around the world? Because we know about the ancient Sumerian and whatnot. So, of course, it told me about the Anunnaki and whatnot. It told me about ancient Egypt, which we know that. It told me about ancient China, Japan, Hebrew and Judaic traditions, Celtic traditions, the Tuatha De Danann from Ireland, Scotland, Wales, godlike race who arrived in Ireland from the sky or mist, masters of technology, magic, and knowledge. The Norse god, the Aesir and the Vanir, the Aesir and the Vanir. Persian, Ahura Mazda and the Amesha Mesoamerican, which is non-Mayan, Aztec, Quetzalcoatl, Andean, which is Incan, Viracocha. Australian, the Dreamtime tribes. Oh yeah, we have sky ancestors, star beings descended during the first time. Created landforms, and taught law. Some clans maintain star lineage origins. Africa, Yoruba, the Orisha, Polynesia. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If all of these civilizations around the world who were supposedly not connected, who don't know anything about each other's lineage, are all singing the same story. Maybe we ought to pay attention to that. What does astrology, what does mainstream academia do? Oh, they're just stories, they're just myths. What if they're not? What if we ought to take these stories at face value and say they're exactly what the people told us they are? What if we were to accord them the honor that we accord these scholars who have done a lot of scholarly work, whom I respect? What if we were to honor the stories of all of these cultures around the world just as we honor scholarship? We can't even explain the Nazca lines. We don't know what they are. We don't know what Serpent Mound is. Have you ever seen Serpent Mound? Let's look at it. We can't even understand Serpent Mound. What in the world is this thing? Serpent Mound. What in the world is this thing? I've got to go look at it in person. Look at this thing. A big giant serpent. What is it? And the astronomical precision of Serpent Mound. Who built Serpent Mound? I'm sure they're going to tell you, oh, some ancient people built Serpent Mound. Oh, brother. Okay. The ancient people that didn't know anything about astrology, but they built this thing perfectly aligned astrologically. Serpent Mound. Let me see if I can get an aerial view of Serpent Mound. Serpent Mound, aerial view. Boom. Let's get the pictures. What in the world is this thing? What is that? What is that? Please tell me what that is. So what I'm saying is that mainstream, oh, people built it. But what is it? How do you know people build it when first we don't even know what it is? Perfectly aligned to I believe it's the fall equinox. I'm going to do some more deep dive into Serpent Mound and tell you the astrology of Serpent Mound. We got to take a retreat here and go and look and see Serpent Mound for ourselves. So weird. What is that? So I'd like to say this. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? What I'd like to say is, in the absence of absolute certainty as to what all these things are, what are the Nazca lines? What is Serpent Mound? What is Machu Picchu? We don't know, even though mainstream archaeologists try to act like, well, this is so and so, and they made this, and then they did this, and then, hammers and chisels and slaves built the pyramids. Yeah. No, no, that's not what happened. So clearly, you don't know what you're talking about, yet you want to convince us to believe what you're saying. No, we're not going for belief around here. We already did that in church. We're not doing belief either in science. We're going to look at evidence. And if you can't tell me what Serpent Mound is and who built it, I'll find out for myself. I don't need your stories. I'll find out for myself. Okay? Humans in the image of Yah didn't build pyramids. Extraterrestrials build pyramids. Boom, there you have it. You seem like an agent. Are you Eastern Star? This is a very interesting question. I am not any religion. None. I am no religion. And you might say, well, you're a Christian witch. Doesn't that mean you're a Christian? No. It means I aspire to Christ consciousness. That's what Christian means to me. Now, to other people, if you say Christian, maybe to them it means a religion. It doesn't mean a religion to me at all. Christian to me means one who aspires to Christ consciousness, which is a consciousness of oneness, wholeness, and absolute acceptance and love and compassion for all people. Being a yogi, a guru, a Christ, an ascended master, whatever you would call that. That's what Christian is for me. Now, what Christian is for other people, Lord only knows. Ask 20 Christians, you'll get 20 answers. Yeah, I know all about the Eastern Star. I was married to a Mason, a 33-degree Mason for many years. He's the father of my beautiful child. I love him dearly. We're no longer married. And I know, and his mother was an Eastern Star. And I grew up in New York City. And on Sundays, we used to, and does anybody know Convent Avenue in New York City? They had a temple over there. And you would see all the Eastern Star out with their white on. They're all white. Yeah, I'm not part of any of it. I've divested myself of all of it. I simply practice the magic of my own beingness. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Peace. Oh, by the way, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. So tomorrow will be